Hi there, my name is Matt Bautel, and I'd like to welcome you to our unit here on intents and activities. Right? So we have a pretty major app that we're going to be doing this time, certainly compared to the ones that we did in our previous unit. What do we have? So we have the Lights Out app. So you should recognize this as your lab from the last unit. But it's a little bit more general, right? So it's actually 4 screens with different things that we can do with them. So actually, I think probably the best way to demo this is to go ahead and pull it up on an emulator here. So if you'd look over here, we can play the game with sort of our standard 7 buttons, right? And it's going to count the number of moves that we've taken and check for wins and so on. All right. I can make new games, everything that I could do in the lab. Now let's go back for a second and realize that we have an option here to change the number of buttons. So if I click this guy, and we'll see that it brings up some radio buttons, whole group of them here, and I could say make it even more challenging by pushing it up to 9 buttons. And it comes back here and it says that now, do you want to play with 9 buttons? Sure, let's go ahead and do that. And we'll see now that we have 9 buttons here. So this number of buttons here has to be set in code, right? So it's not something that I can just hard code into my XML. So we'll be learning that as well. Then we have our About Lights Out right here. So if I click this guy, it brings up a little, what looks like a dialogue that tells us a little bit about the game and how to play it. All right. And then finally, of course, we could hit the exit button and quit it. All right. So kind of complicated. I guess one other thing that I'll show you here is that if I rotate my screen here, that it actually still works. It still knows that we have 9 buttons, and it actually made a new layout here. So we're going to be learning how to deal with that as well. All right, very good. So what's going on? What are the main goals of this unit? So by the end of the unit, what should we be able to do? So the first thing is I want you to be able to build any simple app with confidence, right? So you're actually going to create you're going to be creating the basic screen right here pretty much on your own. Okay, so that should all be pretty much review. All right. So what else? Any app that uses multiple screens, right? So when you click, it's going to go to different places. So you need to know how to be able to do that, and specifically how to pass data between different activities. All right. Radio buttons, you saw that we had to change the number of buttons here. Creating views in code so that we can have a variable number of them, a variable number of buttons, for instance. We saw that when we rotated the screen that it remembered how many buttons we had, even though the activity, it turns out, was actually destroyed and recreated to rotate. So we need to know how to deal with persistence, and the simplest way is to use shared preferences. Very simple, very limited, but it works out nicely in this case. And finally, we're going to learn about a couple different resources that are loaded at runtime. So landscape orientation, as we saw, and we'll actually also play around a little bit with localization in turning a little bit of our app into Spanish, right? So lots of good stuff going on. All right. I'm sure you're going to have a great time with this unit, all right? Keep listening.